In 1994, a California town voted itself out of existence. No fire, no flood, no plague, just paperwork, silence, and a sign taken down in the middle of the night. One day it had a name, a mayor, and a zip code. The next day it was just land again, California, the place people move to reinvent themselves. Sunshine, startups, ocean views, and rent that feels like a punishment. That's the brochure version, but drive far enough inland or high enough into the mountains, or deep enough into the desert, and the state starts telling a different story. One with abandoned schools that still have desks lined up. Courtrooms that never held a trial. Towns where the laws technically exist, but the people don't. Some places don't become ghost towns because something dramatic happened. They disappear because no one noticed they were dying, or worse. Everyone noticed and agreed not to talk about it. Today we're going deeper. Not the tourist ghost towns with gift shops and reenactments. Not the ones with friendly plaques explaining everything nicely. These are real California towns that collapsed, stalled, or slipped sideways out of reality. Places with legal gray zones, missing records, unofficial populations, and the kind of energy that makes you check your mirrors even when you're alone. Tiny warning up front. One of these towns still collects taxes. Another technically has a mayor but no voters. And one hasn't had a permanent resident in decades. Yet its utility meters still run. This isn't clickbait horror. This is bureaucracy, isolation, and history rotting quietly. If you're thinking about road trips, remote living, or just want to know where not to break down after sunset, stay with me. Number 10. Amboy, California. Amboy looks like a movie set because it basically is. Desert highway, rusted signs. A gas station frozen in time like it's waiting for a director to yell action. You've probably seen photos of Roy's Motel and Coffee, neon glowing against the Mojave night. Very aesthetic, very Instagram. But here's the part the photos don't tell you. Amboy never really recovered from being bypassed. When Interstate 40 replaced Route 66, Amboy didn't decline. It was amputated. Traffic vanished overnight. Businesses closed. People left in waves. Not dramatic waves, practical ones. Population today. Depends who's counting. Officially fewer than 10. Some years, 0. Some years, a handful of caretakers and long-term squatters who don't like the word resident. Governance. Technically unincorporated San Bernardino County. Practically nobody's checking in services, minimal to non-existent. Emergency response times measured in thoughts and prayers. And yet Amboy never fully died. The post office lingered. The gas station reopened under new owners. Tourists come, take photos, leave. That's the rhythm now. Inhale strangers, exhale silence. What happens if you live here? Let's talk logistics. No grocery store, no school, no police department. You're responsible for your own water, power, and problem solving. Internet is spotty. Cell service comes and goes like it has commitment issues. Emotionally, people report a strange detachment. Days blur. Time feels stretched. The desert does that. It doesn't scream at you, it waits. One former caretaker wrote online, "It feels like the town knows you're temporary even if you aren't." Crime rate almost nothing, not because it's safe, because there's no one to report anything. Theft happens, trespassing happens. Disputes don't escalate because there's no one to escalate with. Amboy isn't haunted, it's indifferent. And that's somehow worse. Number 9. Cantua Creek. Cantua Creek exists in the Central Valley, which already feels like a place California forgot it built. Flat land, endless agriculture. Heat that doesn't care about your plans. On paper, Cantua Creek is a census-designated place. On the ground, it feels like a pause button. Population hovers around a few hundred, mostly migrant workers and families tied to seasonal labor. The town has no real downtown, no police station, no hospital, no grocery store that isn't attached to a gas pump. Here's the thing, Cantua Creek is surrounded by infrastructure, highways, canals, farms worth millions, but the town itself is barely maintained. Streets crumble, public buildings close quietly, promised improvements never show up. Governance is technically Fresno County. But if you ask residents, they'll tell you the same thing, no one's really in charge. Complaints disappear, requests stall. Elections happen, but turnout is microscopic because people don't believe it matters. Living here feels like being inside a system that forgot to finish loading. Schools struggle, jobs are seasonal and physically brutal. Summers hit triple digits regularly. There's a constant low-level anxiety tied to money, heat, and the knowledge that help is far away. And then there's the creek itself, dry most of the year. When it floods fast. Old-timers talk about bodies found decades ago. Migrant workers who vanished, accidents no one followed up on. No confirmed hauntings, no spooky legends, just neglect layered over time. Cantua Creek isn't creepy because something happened. It's creepy because nothing ever changes. Number 8. Salton Sea beach towns. This one's cheating a little because it's not one town, it's a ring of them. Bombay Beach, desert shores. Salton City, names that sound like vacation spots. Places that were marketed as the next Palm Springs. Back in the 1950s and 60s, the Salton Sea was a mistake people tried to monetize. Accidental lake, fish-stocked resorts built. Celebrities visited, yacht clubs formed. Then the water started dying. Salinity rose, fish floated to the surface. The smell became permanent. Tourism collapsed, property values imploded, developers vanished. What was left were towns with streets, utilities, and houses that no one wanted. Today populations vary wildly. Some places have artists, retirees, survivalists. Others are half-empty grids baking in the sun. Governance exists, technically. Services exist, barely. Law enforcement patrols occasionally. Living here means accepting environmental collapse as your neighbor. Air quality issues from exposed lakebed. Heat that feels personal. Infrastructure that was never meant to last this long. People stay because it's cheap. Because they fell through the cracks elsewhere. Because they like the honesty of decay. One resident wrote, "It's not haunted. It's just what happens after the party." At night, the silence is heavy. Not peaceful, pressurized. The kind where every sound travels too far. Number 7. Monowi-style towns without the novelty. California has several places that functionally don't exist anymore but never officially died. Former railroad stops. Agricultural hubs, military-adjacent settlements. Places where population dropped below 50 and just stayed there. These towns often have one functioning building, a bar, a general store. Sometimes none. Mail gets delivered because the address still exists. Taxes get assessed because the land still exists. But community gone. Governance is usually county level, which means decisions are made by people who don't live there and rarely visit. Roads degrade, signs fade, maps stop updating. Living in one of these places means radical self-reliance. No noise ordinances because no one's listening, no neighbors to complain, no one to help if something breaks. Emotionally, it messes with people. Humans are social whether they admit it or not. Extended isolation changes how time feels, how problems feel. Small issues grow teeth. A former resident described it like this: you stop narrating your life because there's no audience. Then you forget how. Number 6. New Idria. New Idria was once a mercury mining town. Important, profitable, toxic in every sense. Mercury contaminated the land, the water, the people. When the mine closed, the town didn't just empty. It was erased. Buildings demolished. Roads removed. Records sealed or scattered. Today, access is restricted. Environmental cleanup zones overlap what used to be residential streets. Population zero permanently. And yet the land remembers. Old foundations surface after rains. Equipment rusts in place. Warning signs dot the landscape telling you not to touch, not to dig, not to stay. If you tried to live here, you couldn't. Not legally, not safely. The government doesn't just discourage it, it forbids it. New Idria isn't creepy because of ghosts. It's creepy because it's proof that a town can be so poisonous it has to be unmade. Number 5. Ransburg's quiet edge. Ransburg still exists. That's what makes it unsettling. Population around 70. Maybe less. It has a bar, a general store, a museum. It's technically alive. But walk a few blocks off the main drag and it feels unfinished. Houses abandoned mid-renovation. Trailers parked permanently. Streets that don't lead anywhere. Mining dried up. Tourism trickled. What's left is inertia. Living here is cheap. That's the hook. But cheap comes with trade-offs, limited services, limited healthcare, long drives for basics. A social scene that consists of whoever hasn't left yet. One resident wrote, "It's not lonely, it's stagnant. There's a difference." At night, the desert wraps around the town like it's reclaiming territory inch by inch. Number 4. Ocotillo Wells Fringe Settlements. Ocotillo Wells isn't a town so much as a suggestion. Off-road vehicle recreation area surrounded by clusters of people who decided the grid wasn't for them. Some live in trailers, some in makeshift structures, some in vehicles that haven't moved in years. There's no unified governance. No mayor, county services are distant. Law enforcement shows up when things get bad enough. Living here means dust, noise, and unpredictability. It also means freedom. No rent in some cases. No rules beyond survival. The downside, disputes escalate fast. Medical emergencies are serious. Infrastructure failure is normal. People don't talk about hauntings, they talk about accidents. Fires, arguments that went too far. The land doesn't care who's right. Number 3. Chinese Camp. The name alone tells you this place has layers. Founded during the gold rush, Chinese Camp was once home to thousands of Chinese miners pushed out of other areas. It thrived briefly. Then anti-Chinese violence, exclusion laws, and economic collapse hollowed it out. Today, population is under 200. It has a museum, a post office, a school that serves a wide rural area. But the past isn't past here. Locals talk about unease, about certain areas feeling wrong, about the weight of what happened never fully lifting. Living here means carrying history whether you want to or not. The kind of history that isn't celebrated. It just sits. One visitor wrote, "It feels respectful to be quiet there." Number 2. Darwin. Darwin is famous for being weird. Population around 30. No sheriff, no mayor, no formal government. It operates on consensus and tolerance. Sounds idyllic. Until you realize what that means when there's conflict. Living in Darwin means everyone knows your business because there's no one else. Privacy is theoretical. Help is informal. Disputes are personal. It works because it has to, but it's fragile. One bad actor could tip the balance. Darwin survives because the people who stay understand the rules are unwritten and enforced socially. Break that and you leave. Or you're pushed. Number 1. Eagle Mountain. Eagle Mountain was a company town built around an iron mine. At its peak, it housed over 4,000 people, schools, stores, a movie theater, a hospital. When the mine closed in the 80s, the town emptied fast. Buildings were left intact, streets remained. It looked like a place waiting for people to come back. They never did. Today, Eagle Mountain is fenced off, private property. Plans to redevelop it into a prison stalled, lawsuits followed. Now it just sits. A full town with no residents. Utilities disconnected. Structures decaying. Silence stretching block after block. It's one of the largest abandoned towns in California, and one of the quietest. People who've trespassed describe it as overwhelming, too complete, too intact. Like the absence is louder because everything else is still there. Eagle Mountain isn't a ruin. It's a pause. And that's the theme running through all of these places. California isn't just boom and bust. It's start and stop. Build and forget. Incorporate and abandon. Some towns die screaming. Others just fade out mid-sentence. If this made you rethink that, let's explore road trip. Good. Like the video if staying home suddenly feels smarter. Subscribe not for drama, but because knowing where not to go is sometimes the best travel advice there is.